Indeed. So for the next hour, let's talk about devolution and what's happening to devolution in the country. We are joined by Murang'a Senator Irungu Kangata. He is also the majority whip in the Senate. Good morning, Senator.
Thank you, brother. I'm okay.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You have your work cut out today, as we understand it, in terms of what is expected to be discussed in the Senate this morning. So a bit of a background. So there's a new formula for sharing of revenue among the counties. And this formula has, brought in some hue and cry from some counties that feel that they are going to lose what they've been getting previously. And some other counties that have been complaining over the last couple of years saying, look, we have a huge population in this particular county. Just because we have a small geographical area doesn't mean that this formula that we've been having is working to our disadvantage. And now sort of tables have been reversed or tables have been turned.
Let me say that if you are going to pass the proposal by the committee, there will be no single county that is going to lose money. I think that's a misconception that has been pendled around, but it's not true. Let me give you the background. What happened is that in 2010, we passed a new constitution. Article 217 of the constitution gives the Senate the power every a certain period of time to pass a new formula, and it sets out certain criteria. And then, so we had the first generation formula, it lapsed. We had the second generation formula, it's now lapsing this financial year. Now, the Commission for Revenue Allocation came up with a formula. It was taken before the Finance Committee of the Senate. There was a procrastination on the part of that committee. And then a new committee came into power, and it has now come up with this proposal. When you look at the parameters that were underpinning the previous formula, it is true they differ with the new formula parameters. It will be upon the senators to see which one makes sense. But I want to again reiterate, if the committee proposal passes, no single county is going to lose money. Reason being, it is true. If you could have passed the original version of the committee proposal, some counties would have lost money instantaneously. However, we amended that proposal. We say no, the formula may pass, but the effective date will be 2021-2022 financial year.
Okay, so the only thing that the committee is proposing that's different is the start date for implementation of this formula. But it will still happen.
Yeah, of course, we are thinking once the BBI proposals are effective, once we devolve more funds, we will ensure no county will lose any money. When this exercise commenced, the original idea was that some counties will be cushioned once we increase the shareable revenue that goes to the county. Currently, we send about 316 billion. So the idea was that you increase the money, and therefore no one loses. By sheer bad luck, that didn't happen this year because of the problem of the budget constraints, maybe because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And therefore the idea was, okay, pass the formula because the parameters to some people, they think they make more sense. And then thereafter, you commence effecting the whole thing next financial year.
Kicking the can down the road.
In your opinion, what is currently being discussed as the formula to implement, will it actually work as it has been suggested?
In terms of?
Well, its applicability. You say that it's a formula that ensures that no one loses. What I'm actually asking is, what constitutes loss and what constitutes gain?
Well, assuming, for instance, you were to subject that formula on 316 billion, definitely there are some counties who will lose. If you don't provide some form of cushion. Cushion means either you get a fund, any county that is losing is mitigated, or you push effective date to next year, and then you hope by that time you have gotten more money. So from where I see it, if, for instance, you were to apply that formula against the current, it goes without saying. Everyone has tried to come up with an mutation versions where you don't have any county losing as against 316 billion. No one has been able to achieve that. And for obvious reason, because look here, take for instance the parameter of population. The current formula that we are using the 2009 population data. So if you were to again use the 2019 data without even doing any other thing, definitely
Things change.
things change.
Is that the only problem?
Yeah.
Is that the only problem with the way things are currently being done? And I'm asking that because I'm saying, why change? What brought about the change? Why did it need to change?
3 reasons. First, it is a constitutional imperative for Senate to come up with a new formula. Of course, you are right. Maybe we could have adopted the previous formula. As we say, the second generation formula is now the third generation formula. That is possible.
You can
Just
still
a
roll
change
it
in
over.
date.
Yeah, yeah, it is possible. But now there's a problem. Number one, do you need to update data? Of course. Otherwise, you are saying the 2019 census did not
Is
make
irrelevant.
sense. Yeah, irrelevant. We used billions to conduct that census, and the reason why we usually conduct a census is to know how the country is, and then you apply that data for economic planning, isn't it?
Yes.
So, meaning, for instance, even if you are not looking on any other parameter, you had to look at the population parameter. Once you now update your data on population, things change.
Sure.
Some counties which are now more populous, definitely they become more entitled to more money as opposed to those whose population has declined. And by the way, you'll be surprised. Some of the places where our population seems to be declining, incidentally, those are the central Kenya counties. Like Murang'a has been on the borderline in the entire debate, because when you compare its population currently and the one that was there in 2009, you see some slight decline. So you'll be surprised when you try to update that data. Take, for instance, another parameter of poverty rate.
Yes.
Of course, some counties have become more prosperous. Others have become a little bit more poorer. So again, once you update that data, you find there is some change. Let's say we have another parameter of fiscal prudence. How do you measure fiscal prudence? You look at the Auditor General's reports. You find some counties have what we call qualified audit report. Others have a clean report. So meaning, once again, you update that data, you find there will be some counties that will gain, others will lose.
But if I'm to go by the logic that you have put across, of necessity, even with the new constitution, there always will be some counties which appear to lose and some which appear to gain. Because if you look at the parameters by which we judge what it is that counties should perform and what aspects of their performance is pegged to the money they get, there always will be differences.
Yes, you are right. And that's the reason why, so that you don't do what we call disruption in service delivery, you need to come up with either a special fund to mitigate those counties that are so-called losing, or you push the effective date to another year, hoping between now and that date, you'll have gotten some more money.
So you postpone it.
Yeah.
It's kicking the can down the road, which basically just points the spotlight squarely on the Senate, and how the Senate has been operating. Senator, you've told us that this matter was brought before the Senate, before the previous committee. The previous committee pussyfooted on the issue. It was supposed to have done its job. It didn't do its work. And now that's why we are finding ourselves in a situation where we are in, because you haven't been able to resolve this particular issue. You're now kicking the can down the road and hoping that the BBI and other external processes will resolve this issue.
In fact, you're getting the impression that the Senate has become a faith-based organization.
Yes.
Yes.
No, you see, now, as I had said, when the Commission for Revenue Allocation came up with this formula, there was the understanding, yes, it is true there will be some losses in some counties, but to ensure you have smooth delivery of services, come up with some fund to cushion the losses. Now, because of the problem, the fiscal constraints we are currently undergoing, that money was not there. So the only best way option is, okay, retain the status quo for at least 1 year. And then we hope next year things will be okay. And I can tell you from a political point of view, no government would dare reduce any county money or superintend a county losing any money when you are heading to an election. Yeah, I can tell you.
So this is what the Senate is basically hoping, that 2021, there is absolutely no way that that proposal as it stands could even go through even in 2021.
No.
Something else has to happen politically for money to be found so that you can cushion.
No, you think something should happen economically, I think. No, not so much politically. Politically is already happening. It's been kicked down the road. But economically, you need to have a sound financial footing.
Because a decision that could not be taken in 2020, Senator, 2021, and you, like you said, just going into an election, 2021, now it's hot potato.
No, just take into account, decision will be made today. You must also understand, meaning the formula will be embedded, God willing, in Senate or in a resolution, and it will become law technically. So therefore, we need to clarify that point. What you'll be doing is just like the way we do our legislative processes. You can pass law today; it is signed into law, but often you say the effective date is next year. Yeah, it happens. So, God willing, we shall pass that formula today.
And that's
now,
what I'm saying.
Another point just to clarify.
The reasons why this could not happen this year will definitely have to be dealt with next year.
Yeah, we hope so. Of course, we are looking at the expansion of the economy next year. We hope so.
With COVID.
We hope so. Or, there are many ways of recalibrating our budget. And we hope there'll be some remedial measures within a year. And also just to bring to your attention that the committee proposal is not the only proposal that senators will be discussing today. We have given the liberty senators to come up with as many options as possible. In fact, from where I sit, people are asking me, hey, Kang'ata, what is the official government position on this matter? The government position is come up with the best idea today, and we shall buy it. It is not necessarily the committee proposal will be the one that will carry the day. We are looking for the best idea. Why? Because this stalemate has constitutional dimensions. You see, for counties to get money, several processes have to happen. Process number one, you have to pass something called Division of Revenue Bill. That was passed, I think, about April, May. It is the one that says national government will get this money, counties will get this money. That is step number one. Step number two, you now go to something we call formula. You are first to say, okay, counties are going to get 316 billion, but you are going to share that money under what formula? So you pass the formula today in Senate, it goes to the National Assembly for concurrence, and then now you start preparing something we call CARA. That CARA is an act of parliament that says, okay, county Y gets this money, county X gets this kind of money. After you pass now CARA, counties now have the legal basis for them to effect something we call their own budgets. So therefore, basically, currently, no county legally can pass its own budget. And therefore, you are disrupting service delivery at that level. There'll be a lot of problems. And therefore, from where I see it, we need to unlock this stalemate today legally to enable counties to operate.
So what happens today? I mean, you've said God willing a number of times. So what happens at the end of today when these decisions are made? How does that change in counties now with processes? God willing that all of this will be sorted out today. How does that change? Even if it doesn't come into practice for another year or so, what then in now the reintroduction of services in counties, how does that change?
Nothing will change. If things go as per the committee proposal for this year, the status could be maintained for 1 year. The money that they got last year, they'll get it this year, and therefore there'll be no disruption of services.
Okay. You talked also about, assuring, county bosses or whomever operates within the county that everybody will be, there's no money that will be removed from them, essentially. Giving them that assurance. Is that something that is a sure thing?
Yeah, it is. Hoping the committee proposals passes. You can come up, maybe let's say another senator come up with a better
idea.
You never know. It may torpedo committee's proposal.
Right.
So you must also take that into account, that in fact we're encouraging senators. If you have better formula that let's say for instance can come up with some I don't know, computations that ensures no county loses, okay. If you can change or tweak it in a manner that everyone feels, now this is the best way, this is the magic bullet we have been waiting, okay.
I'm still wondering, Senator, how we got here, where we got to a point where the Senate has to meet in the morning to build consensus and then maybe vote in the afternoon, and it's still not clear what direction will be taken. How did we get here? From the point the CRA gave its proposed formula to now, what is it? Who dropped the ball and where?
I think the problem commenced when people started getting the impression some of their counties are going to lose money. No single senator would want to be going home and people saying, okay, you superintended loss of money here. Most senators, quite a number of them, have frost their relationships with their governors. So it's very easy for a governor to go and tell people in the village, Senator Y, he's the one who is making you go.
He's the reason you're not getting any service.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get employed. He took away money from you. Yeah, so senators got, okay, we don't want to be.
So senators basically, instead of confronting the issue, they decided to be hands-off.
No, it's not hands-off.
There's a hot potato on the table.
Yeah,
instead of
leave it
dealing
there
with
to
that,
cool down.
But you see why we say hands off? Huh? If what we read is actually accurate, this matter should have been concluded by June the 30th.
Yeah, you are right.
Yes, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And yet, the relevant committee that was supposed to be handling it were in place.
You are very
Senator,
right, by the way.
let's
On
take a
that
quick
score,
break.
you are right.
Let's take a break, Senator, and then we come back and continue this conversation. We are speaking with Senator Irungu Kang'ata. He's the Senator of Murang'a County and the Majority Whip in the Senate. We are discussing the division of revenue and the formula that has been proposed by the Commission on Revenue Allocation that is yet to be approved by the Senate or any decision made on the Senate, but that is expected to happen today. This is a Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. It's on Spice FM and KTN Home. A quick break at 26 minutes past 7, taking a look at the weather and traffic. Keep it right here.
All right, still mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning. We'll see highs of 22 and showers for later on in the day. In Njeri County, 19 degrees the high with showers later on. And in Nakuru, 21 degrees the high with showers expected later as well. All right, we'll take a look into Eldoret, where it's partly cloudy at 12 degrees. Thunderstorms forecasted for the afternoon with highs of 18 and lows of 12. Kisumu looks like rain in the afternoon, highs of 25 and lows of 17. Kakamega as well, 23 the high and lows of 15 with a wet afternoon in the forecast. Malindi at 25 degrees is partly cloudy, highs of 28 and lows of 24. Taking a look then into Mombasa, it's partly cloudy at 24 degrees, highs of 29 and lows of 23. Kampala, thunderstorms forecasted for the afternoon, 25 the high and lows of 18. Dar es Salaam, 22 degrees and sunny conditions all through, highs of 31 and lows of 21. It's a really chilly morning in Joburg at 2 degrees. It's sunny though, we'll see highs of 17 and lows of 1. And for now, in Lagos, partly cloudy conditions at 24. We'll see highs of 28 and lows of 23. All right, bad roads is what is causing a lot of traffic in Eastleigh this morning. Trying to get into the CBD will not be a very fun affair, unfortunately. Traffic is already building up in that area. Juja Road also getting to and from the CBD is quite the chock-a-blocked situation. All right, let's look at Ngong Road this morning. It's all clear all the way into town following the city mortuary roundabout. We won't have any problems there today. The traffic jam on Thika Road today is crazy. From about 7 o'clock, that means that people who've been there for about an hour or so, it's building up all the way from the Safari Park Hotel, trying to get your way to the underpass that leads you into the CBD. It's going to take a while, guys, so it's going to be peppered with some patience today. It's going to be absolutely necessary to to do that. Looking at Mombasa Road from Cabanas all the way to the General Motors area is bumper to bumper. It's likely to remain that way for some time. So let us know what it is that you see. The eastern and southern bypasses for now are looking good. Spice FM KE, that's how you can reach us on Twitter.
Live streaming on www.spicefm.co.ke as well as Spice FM KE on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. And today until Wednesday, we're also on KTN Home. In the studio this morning on the hot seat is Senator Irungu Kang'ata, Murang'a Senator and Majority Chief Whip in the Senate. In the room as well is CT Muga, Nduh Okoh and I'm Eric Latiff. We are discussing the Senate, the work before the Senate this morning. There is a proposal by the Commission on Revenue Allocation. This is a constitutional requirement that periodically they have got to review the formula which is used to distribute money to the counties. It's the third basis of this formula, and this new one is looking at different parameters. And because of these parameters, there was fear, and is widespread fear, that some counties that were receiving some certain amounts of money are going to lose to a tune of at least 1 billion shillings for some counties, or even 1.8 billion shillings. I've seen some counties saying that they're likely to lose even up to 1.8 billion shillings in a financial year, just because of the parameters. The parameters include the population demographics, poverty rate, fiscal prudence, and others. So the Senate will be meeting today, first of all, to build consensus. Is that so, Senator?
Yes, of course, there will be a form of a kamukunji, although it's not titled a kamukunji as such. It is a meeting by the Committee of Finance to explain to the senators the rationale behind their proposal. But basically, one can argue it's a form of a kamukunji in the sense that it is informal in a way. It's not within the formal processes of the Senate. Yeah.
And then in the afternoon?
Then we shall go in the afternoon. The Speaker will come in. There will be a paper laid by the committee. And then the Speaker will adjourn for some few minutes to allow senators to bring their amendments. Then we shall vote.
Are the fears or the murmurings by certain counties that certain amounts of money may be removed from what they would spend, are these fears justified?
No, they are not. As I have explained, that if the committee proposal passes as it is, without any amendment, it is proposing that you put the effective date to next year. That way, this year, no county loses. Then, by next year, we'll have looked for money to ensure no county loses any money.
I'm going to ask you what processes you want to follow to ensure you find this money that you'll be looking for.
And what is that money going to be called?
One, there's a proposal in the BBI report to devolve more funds to the counties. Currently, the Constitution talks of a minimum of 15% of the national revenue that is generated. So if you are to push it to about, let's say, 40, then definitely it means you are devolving more funds. And therefore, no loss.
Herein lies a conundrum.
The problem.
Realistically speaking, do you see the national government devolving 40% of their funds to the counties?
Yeah, it's very possible. There are several functions in the Constitution which are still in the realm of the national government. If for any reason one of those functions is devolved, why not? Assume, for instance, I'm not saying that would be the proposal. I don't want to be quoted on this one. But just take maybe some aspects of security, some aspects of education. I'm just imagining. It's possible. Some other counties, let's say, some other countries.
It's okay to dream.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Some of these things may be in the realms of dreams, Senator, because you talk about things being possible. Very many things are possible in this country, but unfortunately have not been done. As we look at it now and we look at the sphere of it, many things are possible. a stellar education system is possible. Stellar healthcare is possible. If, the right funds are applied to these things, but they're not done for one reason or another.
The Constitution as it stands states, and you've said so, that the devolved amounts that should get to the counties should be at a minimum 15%.
Yep.
How often does the national government actually devolve that 15%?
Oh, incidentally, it devolves more. I think twice of that. Yeah, in fact, it devolves twice of that. In fact, I do not know of any year the government went below 20%. So we have been devolving that. The issue is there are more functions which are still in the hands of the national government. So meaning for you to achieve a situation where more funds are being devolved, you may need to transfer some functions from the national government to the counties.
Okay. There's devolution, there's government committing. This 20% you speak of, does it actually ever get to the counties?
Yeah, it does. In fact, there is no single day where one can say that certain amounts of money do not reach their counties in a financial year. No single year. In fact, what has been there, which I would concede, is some delay. Let's say, for instance, that money was expected to be sent.
So it's delayed
in January. It is sent maybe in
on
February.
the 15th of June.
No, in February. But I can tell you, no single year any county can say, hey, we were expecting this money, we didn't get no single year.
So, when counties are put on the spot over absorption of some of these monies, they say the money arrives so late that it's towards the end of the financial year.
And there's no time for us to do any kind of development work within the county because we received the funds when the year was coming to an end. So does it really work when the money comes when there's really no time for you to do anything with it?
No, it's not true. Again, that's not true. Factors that make counties not to get money promptly are usually many, and the reasons are usually diverse. One example, you can have what we call under-collection in a certain month. Remember, by the way, people must understand how a government budget works. Unlike our budgets at our family setting, often you usually keep some money aside, then you spend. Government doesn't operate that way. Government tax and spends immediately. You don't have a reserve fund to go and pick money to give somebody else. No, it is you tax in a month, then you spend it. So
we don't have a sovereign fund, so to speak.
Yeah, we don't, by the way. And even if it was there, it doesn't. No country, to the best of my knowledge,
It's not the one that you budget for.
Yeah, it's not the one that you usually.
It's an emergency fund.
Yeah, so meaning generally governments usually depend on how fiscally a country is performing that month. So for any reason, let's say like now we are in the COVID lockdown. There are no people who are going to pay their taxes, to return their income tax. Companies are downsizing. Where will you get that money that month? Where you get that money from? So meaning, like those 2 months we had under collection, it means also the government receipts in terms of revenues, there will be under collection. So, but because there is a constitutional imperative that you must give counties X amounts of money, it means, in fact, by that concept is provided for in the Constitution. If there is under collection, it is the national government that bears that burden. It is not the counties. The money by the counties is usually protected by law. So if there's under collection, it means fewer roads will be made by the national government. It will mean fewer police will be recruited in that year.
It can forego some of its projects,
exactly.
but it must send money
to
the counties.
How then, I find this puzzling really, how then is it that every so often we hear of pending bills not being paid, and the back and forth lands on the feet of the national government? They did not release enough funds. Not that they didn't release funds. We now have COVID, and counties are being required to ensure that they're able to cope with the disease should it surge in their counties. And reports that we hear, very few counties are actually ready. So, where is there this imbalance? Is it a figment of the imagination of the counties, or is there something that there's a difference between the amount that is proposed and it actually being delivered to the counties who need it?
As I said, that there are a myriad of reasons which makes counties not to receive money promptly. By the way, some of them is attributable to incompetence by various county officials. Yeah, it is true.
There's part of that as well.
Yeah, of course. Let me give you a good example. You're supposed to requisition the national government, and there is an entity we call control budget. So you must prepare your documents, take them to the control budgets for approval. Once that happens, those documents are then taken to the central bank. Then that money is wired to your account. So some counties don't prepare those requisite documents. They don't even have competence to prepare those documents. Some even are led by governors who don't even have that knowledge of those processes. Yeah, it is true. So you find either there is delay in making those documents, or they make documents which go to the control budgets and they are rejected. You see, so all that process then disrupts service delivery.
Where does the Senate come in such cases? You're the protector of devolution, and also you are the ones who are set there to ensure that counties are doing what they're supposed to do to deliver services to the people.
Often that report would be made or brought to the attention of the Senate through what we call audit report. And audit is usually a last stage process in the entire accounting cycle. So meaning there'll be those problem of under-absorption of funds. So then auditor will come to your county. He will then, ask you, can you give me your documents? We realize, you didn't requisition 2 billion. Yeah. Yep. And then we raise that issue. You'll be given an opportunity to defend yourself. In fact, personally, I'm now a member of what we call CPAC, committee, Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. So the auditor will come to your county. He will do what we call an entry meeting. Then once he looks at your books, he will then do what we call an exit meeting. After that, then he will give you what we call a management letter. Then he will give you a draft report. All those are opportunities for you to respond, to explain why didn't you requisition for
the
development,
2 billion,
for the 2 billion. You will say, I don't know what. You will say, I don't know what. If you don't give a sufficient response, you'll be brought before the Senate.
Okay.
Again, the Senate will give you another opportunity to explain why didn't you requisition this money. If you don't give any reasonable cause, then Senate will do what we call a recommendations, which may include you can be arrested, maybe that you have violated some law. We have governors currently facing charges, criminal charges. Example include the Busia governor, the Samburu governors. All those who are arrested based on the reports from the Committee of Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. Yeah, we can also recommend you can be surcharged in the event that you have stolen money. So there are several ways for.
And when you notice that the kinds of incompetence that you described, maybe lack of capacity by the county executive or even the governor, what recommendation would you come up with in such a case?
Yeah, we can recommend investigation by other investigative agencies. Particularly in instances of where it's an issue of stealing, incompetence, we can censure you. You see also, there are some forms of incompetence which are political also. Also you're also elected at the end of the day. So ideally also, you should be punished by wananchi in a way also. So it depends.
Senator, I just want to, the incompetence also that I want to go to, you mentioned something like, inability to craft a budget, for example, or to fill out a budget line properly. It bothers me because, the custodian of a county should at the very least be able to do things like that. So what kind of interventions would be put in place, or would be recognized by Senate to have some of these things done? Because complaints would come in the future, and then if you do an investigation, you find out it's because of somebody's, inability to do something that you would see as extremely easy or as extremely simple.
There are many remedial measures. We have remedial measures at the Senate level. We also have remedial measures at the county assembly level. Remember, CCs can be recalled by the county assembly. CC is like a minister at the national government level. So meaning also we can nudge the assembly to take action and recall a person who is incompetent. And there are several instances. I have seen CECs being recalled. They can even go to the extreme cases of impeaching a governor. Remember, the governor for Kiambu was impeached. And you can see some of those allegations were based on the reports that were before the Senate. So meaning there are several remedial measures. Other remedial measures are also political. The people can kick you out during an election. Yeah.
But for that to happen, people need to be aware that this is what the Senate found. This is what all the other agencies found. The Auditor General found this. The Senate Public Accounts Committee found this. This is a recommendation. This has been discussed extensively in the Senate so that people can see and understand that this is what's happening in their county.
Exactly. That's the reason why what we call Committee of Public Accounts, counties' public accounts, is usually open to the members of the press. In fact, there have been instances where KTN has been beaming those proceedings live. I've seen even Citizen beaming those proceedings live. In fact, I would urge you to assign a person in the committee. In fact, this week and next week, in fact, for the next 2 months, we shall be grilling members of the county executive, various governors. You saw Ngilo was there the other day. Mutua was there the other day. Today we are having the governor from Kwale, Mr. Mvuria. So you come and beam it so that Wananchi can understand. Of course, some instances have been told. The press officer of the Senate, he calls some media stations, telling, hey, can you come and cover? They say, that governor doesn't have any name recognition. Yeah. You see, by doing,
It's a waste of airtime.
Last week it happened.
You're saying that governor doesn't have voltage.
voltage. So you see, it's also unfair because now you are doing injustice to the
people of Kenya.
Yeah, it is true.
Back to the issue that you're kicking down the road, this one that you'll be discussing today on the third basis revenue allocation formula. You're saying that the proposal by the Finance Committee is that let's adopt the formula as it is, but let's move the effective date to next year. Then that's the 2021-22 financial year, right? Is there any other proposal that is joining this as a rider and saying, well, we also expect that by that time the Senate will have come up with this proposal, will have come up with these bills, that this kind of laws will also cushion the other counties?
Well, there are many proposals. I don't want to preempt the discussion that will be before the Senate. I know Senator for Narok has come up with another proposal. There are several permutations, and therefore maybe his will also be considered. There was also another proposal that was not crystallized so far into an amendment. I hope it will be crystallized. Some people say, we maintain status quo for the next 5 years. Again, that's another option. I'm also aware of an idea that was being floated by a senator from Nyamira. We postpone not with 1 year, with 2 years up to 2022. Again, that's also another proposal. So what I would urge fellow senators, please bring as many proposals as possible. Let us look at the best one.
What does postponing do? What does postponing mean to those that were bound to benefit from this new one?
Yeah,
I know there are very many counties that have been complaining. I think your county now, because of the 2019 census, things have changed a little bit. But a county like Kiambu, for instance, I hear that they've been complaining for a long time, even the members of parliament, that look, we have a population of over 1 million people in this county, and this is how much you receive. And they would have expected that now with this new third basis formula, at least they were going to get money commensurate with the kind of services that they expected to deliver to the people.
Yeah, you are right. That's a problem that will be raised by some, particularly those who are gaining. But in short, it's at times it's becoming like a zero-sum game. Yeah, you touch this, the rest say, hey, no, don't dare. You do this. So for me, I think the best case scenario is a middle ground. And by the way, personally, I've gone out of my way to try to come up with a middle ground, which is acceptable to everyone. Initially...
Is that really ever possible?
Well, we shall know today, but I can tell you, originally, the proposal was more harsher. Take, for instance, the original proposal by the Commission for Revenue Allocation. 27 counties were gaining. They were gaining, and about 20 counties were losing. So, secondly, this new proposal was brought in. Then we had 29 counties gaining, and now 18 counties losing. So meaning it appears more counties at least were now on the positive trajectory. But then again, we thought, okay, fine, 29 counties will gain, 18 will lose. What do we do? Surely, is that fair? And they are going to lose this year. Some will be losing about 2 billion. Others will be losing 1 billion. So another proposal was made. Okay, why can't we have counties assisting each other? If you are gaining, let's say, amounts of money, we reduce your gain by 50%, then we give it to the losing county. So the gains are 50% of the originally intended amounts, and the losses are 50% of the originally intended amounts. So there was such kind of a proposal. By the way, it was even that idea was even affirmed by the executive. In fact, the executive said, okay, I think this is a better proposal. But when we took it and we started to triangulate it amongst senators, we realized so long as a person is losing, including $1 million, he's not happy.
Yeah,
of course not.
Yeah, so meaning, so we thought, okay, to move this debate forward, let us maybe come up with an idea. Okay, we postpone any loss with at least 1 year, hoping the other year.
That is called shirking responsibility,
Wow.
Senator. This
We'll see
is
what
basically saying that, you know what, this thing is too hot for us. Let's move it. Let's kick it down the road. In fact, those who are proposing 5 years, they're thinking 5 years' time, I'll have gone, I'll have campaigned, I'll want to be governor, and then lobby in this house. I'll not be the one dealing with this. This is senators avoiding their responsibility. It is a tough time. It's a tough decision that you must make, but you must make it.
Yeah, what you are saying is okay, but you see that's a form of
Only okay, it isn't true.
No, of course it is problematic. You see, you are talking of making decision just for the sake of making a decision, not taking into account here you are dealing with the real problems, real people's problems. Yeah, imagine you are a county of Wajir or Mandera or let's say Turkana, and then all of a sudden you are told this year you're not getting 2 billion shillings. Surely 2 billion, it means maybe you'll be forced to downsize, you'll be forced to close down some of your services. 2 billion is a huge loss for a county within a year.
What happens next year, Senator, when now the favorable conditions which you hope will have been reached are not reached?
No, have worsened.
Or even gotten worse. What happens? Because if you say now, we're not going to make this decision now because so many things are going on. There's COVID, the country was already suffering economically, etc., right?
Those are not the reasons. The reasons are I do not want to be the one who
they
passed
need
this bill.
No, but yeah, they
and
need
go
No,
back
we
to my
shall
people.
still be in
No.
office.
You said very clearly now, Senator, there's some extra money that you would need, right? Hopefully that we'll find this money from somewhere. But because we can't do that now, we'll give it a year. So what happens in a year when the very high possibility of not finding that extra money or conditions don't change or conditions worsen? It's going to be another year then? What would happen?
4 things can happen to get that money. Number one, national government can stop some of its projects. That's a possibility. It can, let's say, okay, we are headed to a year where we must devote more funds to the counties. So we downscale some of our projects. That's one possibility. Two,
Dependent on the goodwill of the national government.
Exactly, and we
Okay.
know how it is possible. Number two, national government can also borrow money to give counties.
From where? The senator. Okay.
Borrowing.
Yeah,
Go to borrowing again.
Borrowing.
Yeah, it can borrow.
All right.
Why
so
not?
Okay. That's
Why not?
increase
Why
our
not?
debt.
Remember, by the way,
Increase
the
debt.
constitution.
Okay.
That's option 2.
The constitution doesn't give counties powers to borrow
True.
unless superintended by the national,
By the national government.
So meaning, it's also an option on the part of the national government. to
National
borrow.
government is in a very tight pickle already when it comes to borrowing.
Well,
Senator.
it can borrow money. It can borrow money and give counties. That's
Meaning
a
the
possibility.
situation we're in, we can get deeper into it.
Into debt.
Which means
That's,
we'll
so
be-
those are,
those
those
are-
are,
number
those are,
three.
those are
Those
two
are two.
options
Number
dependent on the
three.
national government.
But of course, everything is dependent on the national government.
Number 3.
Number 3, you can then, for instance, have the national income increase. It can increase. Yeah?
Within a year.
Yeah, it is possible.
We can collect more than a 1.6
yeah,
trillion shillings.
it is possible.
From?
It is possible. You know, it happens.
I love this optimistic outlook.
It happens.
that
No,
the senator
it's-
has.
it
Actually,
happens.
All right.
It happens.
This
You
is-
see,
this is
let me
optimism.
give you.
So that is
no,
number
I can
3.
give you the macroeconomic indicators.
Okay.
So far. We have seen exports have been increasing. People thought they would decline. Yeah, you know horticulture. It has, you have seen. There were several.
it has resurrected.
It is possible. It's a possibility. Let me give you a story to give this in perspective. Many years ago, you know, kings used to be judges, isn't it?
Yes, they were the be all and end all.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Every power was reposing in a. So
a
one
king.
day, 3 guys were told by the king, "You are going to die." Isn't it? They had committed a capital offense, so they were judged by the king. They are going to die. So one of the guys said, "Hey, don't kill me, brother." He was told, "Why? Please give me 4 days. I'm going to make you a horse to start flying. You know, you're always fighting with our enemies. I'm going to do some magic, and your horse will be flying." So the guy said, "Okay, I give you 4 days." So the other guys who went now to die there and then asked the other guy, "Hey, why did you cheat the king?" He told them, 3 reasons. Number 1, this king can die before the 4th day. And you know, it is the king who has the sole prerogative to sign death warrant. So if he dies before that day, me, I'll be free. You guys, you are going to die now.
So it's basically
Number
buying
3,
time.
number 2, me, I can die of natural causes. And therefore, I won't feel the pain you're about to feel. Finally, you never know. I can do something and
The horse flies.
it flies.
The man had really opened his options.
That's completely just hoping
So
on
in
a
life,
miracle.
Let me tell you, in life.
Hoping on a miracle.
In life.
Keep your options open.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything can
Senator,
happen.
thank you very much. Let's take a quick break. We want to talk about Kenya Ports Authority. They have a new portal, an information portal called Captain Cargo. And Captain Cargo is on kpa.co.ke /Captain Cargo. And what kind of information do they have?
All right, so port tariffs, I think it's very important also. Services rendered to vessels, services rendered to cargo. There's marine services from the little boats to the big vessels, the ships, etc., etc. Important to note that it's not the same services that are rendered across board. And so the portal gives information of just that. There's something they call stevedoring, discharging and loading cargo from and to vessels or the next mode of transport. So whereas previously you would not be sure what service was rendered to what particular kind of vessel, whether you were importing or exporting. And so all of this information now very clear, put out on the portal so that you're never really lost, even if you don't have hands-on interaction with your cargo, with your vessel. At least you're aware of what's happening, and that information is very clearly on Captain Cargo.
As we conclude our conversation with the Senator Irungu Kang'ata, the Murang'a Senator, who's also the Majority Chief Whip, well, basically what you're telling us is never give up hope. Always live on that chance that anything could happen.
Yeah, of course.
So don't make your decision today.
No,
Hope
you have
that
to
something
be
could change tomorrow.
strategic when you are superintending government business. You must also look at several factors and do good projections going forward.
Okay. Thank you very much, Senator, for joining us today. We'd like to give you a moment to give you a final and closing remark. Speak to the people of Kenya.
Thank you. We hope today's Senate will meet and we shall make a firm decision that will be positive to every citizen of this country, including various counties. For me, from where I sit, I do not want any disruption in service delivery in every county. His Excellency, the President of this Republic, has given us instructions that we assist counties not to get disrupted. No wonder we came up with that proposal to cushion counties, at least for 1 year. We hope there will be consensus. We are also open to new ideas from senators. Yeah, we are not closed. We don't have a closed mind.
Right.
It's not a zero-sum game. It is not.
Thank you very much, Irungu Kang'ata, Senator from Murang'a County. We wish you all the best in those deliberations. Our advice to you is make a decision.
Thank you.
Make a decision.